past all of them as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
We're reaching the final third of the World GT Championship Season 16 here on RaceSpotTV. Hello everybody, my name is Paul Smith, alongside me is Peter Mackay, and we are coming to you from the virtual Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe for a special event round of the World GT Championship. We'll explain what that is in a few moments' time, but Peter, Le Mans, I mean, do we really need to say anything more than what a venue?
And what a race, of course, that this place is so famous for, that's been going on for over 100 years, from the days of the Bentley boys in the 1920s all the way through to the golden era of sports car racing that we have at the moment. And of course, quite fittingly, here in the World GT Championship, we've got GT3 cars, just like they're now racing at Le Mans. We're in a new era with that as well, and interested to see how our drivers get on a track that's very, very familiar, and of course, and a very critical point of the championship too.
Absolutely, it is a big point of the championship now. We're heading on in towards that final third of the championship. People are setting themselves up for a final championship run-in. Here we are with the calendar. this week with a special round at Le Mans. We take next week off. You got a week off next week if you want to do something else on a Monday evening. But join us then the following week when we have another one of the special rounds at Barcelona. We then have our final endurance round at Road America, and then we finish off the season the 28th of October at Daytona. And well, critical point of the championship, it's 79 points separating the WSR eSports butt kicker driver of Alex Davidson and the NX Racing driver of Jack Sedgwick. Josh Thompson, he's not that far back, actually, it must be said, after his up and down season. James Boumate, again, he's only 118 points off of the championship leader, so don't count him out. Dennis Grabowski, Victor Wolfson, Ross McFarlane, Anders Meyer, Nathan Moore and Michael Avdoka round out your top 10. In Pro-Am, it is 84 points that separate the Full Tilt Motorsport driver of Michael Gray and the Altitude Esports by SimStickers driver of Adam Watson. KRD driver of Jamie Rushworth in third, but he's 135 points back. Will Guthrie ahead of Paul Webster. Rhys Saunders, Richard Simnard, Chris Chadderton, Jack Osborne and Nick Kirstens round out your top 10 in Pro-Am. That's the closest championship that we've got here. Jesse Payne Wilkins in that Full Tilt competition car is just 5 points clear of Jonathan Walker in that Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge car. Then you've got Ben Altria. He's only 51 points back off of Jonathan Walker. He's in third place in that Full Tilt Motorsport car. Then it's Simon Andre Livingston ahead of Adam Hedgecock, Ben Gregory, Andrew Fairley, Ben Bennyworth, Nathan Healy and Ian Brown round out your top 10 in AM. Your 10 teams in Pro then. 86 points separate the Altitude Esports by 3M team and the WSR Esports butt kicker team. WSR Esports are in third place ahead of Altitude Esports by SimStickers. Racing Lab Esports powered by Ford are in fifth ahead of Bayard SimSport. KRD ahead of the Atomic Esports Evo in eighth. Racing Lab Esports ninth and Prestanda Nomad rounding out the top 10. And then your 10 teams in Pro-Am teams, it is Full Tilt Motorsport who lead that one by a massive 419 points over the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge team. Then it's Full Tilt Competition in third, ahead of the Atomic Esports team in fourth place. Full Tilt Racing, fifth place in the championship ahead of DCW Racing. Then it's Boosted Motorsport, Quantumass Motorsport, Tech Sport Academy by AMS, and Writer Engineering Esports round out the 10 teams in Pro-Am. We've got about a minute left of qualifying, and it's a different qualifying programme here for Le Mans because it is such a long venue, Peter. We do get all of the drivers out there at the same time, so AMs, Pro-Ams and Pros all duking it out trying to get their best lap time.
And of course we know here at Le Mans how important the slipstream is. So many full throttle runs down here, so you've got a great opportunity if you can get in somebody's slipstream, of course. But yeah, very important if you can do that. But who will come out on top today? Well, we heard we heard in the virtual paddock the Porsche drivers absolutely crying wolf, saying how hard their life's going to be because they can't possibly compete with the turbocharged cars. Well, at the moment it's Porsche, from Ferrari, from Porsche, from Ferrari, from Audi. From Porsche. I don't know enough for from Audi. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. It's just really funny how there's been the whole... it reminds me a little bit of Ford when they first had the GTE program, and they were, we're so off the pace, we can't possibly compete. And then they got and absolutely waltz it the first year. Yeah, it's a case of the boy who cried wolf, I think, a little bit here.
It is very much the boy who cried wolf at Le Mans. As Josh Thompson, is he going to get another lap in? He is. This is going to come down as he just clips the curb again, and really tricky final section that here at Le Mans. Does he improve? Does he go up to beyond fifth? He does. He goes up to third.
That's one way of slowing your car down. Sending it into the pit wall. I don't think... well, I mean, the Ferrari spare parts department would be delighted with that. Dennis Grabowski went incredibly off track there. I would imagine that he would have a slowdown penalty for that. Yes, he does. I can tell you that he does have a slowdown penalty for that, going that far off track. There's been a number of drivers who have had incidents out there. James Boumet, we were talking before the start of the broadcast here, Peter. He went out, got a lap time in, and then went and threw it in the kitty litter at this second chicane. So he's not done too bad to qualify himself 6th place.
He has, yeah. I think that's very, very good. And we've got a train of cars here. We talked about Slipstream. Andy Archer's in a good place in his Ferrari behind one of the Ford Mustangs, which certainly punches a big hole in the air. So all the while here, all 4 of these cars, apart from the one at the front, of course, are gaining lap time all the time. So who's at the front of that? Who's the diesel locomotive here? Adam Watson. Well, he's been referred to as other industrial machinery before.
Well, it was a DCW car that was actually at the front of that queue that's then pulled away. I believe that was Richard Simner, who was pulled over to the side out of the way of everybody else. But yeah, Adam Watson, you're absolutely right, he's been called many a thing by many a driver as well, it must be said, on this grid, and not just his team boss.
No, it's never boring. It's never boring. And then straight away, Adam Watson, he peels off the peloton, so he's no longer the domestique. So Andy Archer now flowing through the Porsche cars, one of the most special bits of racetrack in the world. Used to, many years ago, used to be Maison Blanche or White House, as it referred to, was a super fast through there, but I think a more compelling piece of track now with the Porsche curves. I've been a part of Le Mans for a long time now, through Corvette and karting, and then to the last couple of chicanes, using all the room, just actually using a little bit of the pit entry there, clip the curbs, down the gearbox, down to 2nd gear in this Ferrari 296 GT3. Oh, the Mustang goes wide, that'll be a white lap. But what is it for Andy Archer? He's already 13th, which is a good qualifying. Does he move up? He does. Pole position for Pro-Am.
Yeah, that's a cracking lap to pull that out in the end there. I can tell you the split amongst the drivers is 6 seconds, just over 6 seconds between those who have set lap times from the fastest to the slowest. Drivers who haven't set a lap time, now there's a few that had penalties to serve this week, and I could tell you that we are not got Mads Jensen, he's got a qualifying ban. Nick Kirstens and Ben Gregory both have a qualifying ban, and they're having to start the second race from the back of the grid, so they didn't set lap times here. But Axel Sliptrovic, Leander Engelveld, Phil Samways and Taylor Lane and Josh Boot all did not set a lap time in qualifying there. Now, normally, what I would say is that, you know, coming from the back of the field, it's going to be very difficult. This track, though, it's not the most difficult to overtake at. The problem is if you then start getting gaps between groups of cars, isn't it? As soon as you lose that slipstream, it's very difficult to pull yourself forward to the next group.
Yeah, that's the problem, is you have to have a massive amount of extra speed to be able to break away. So you will see a lot of packs forming and trying to work together. And this is a pit stop. We've got 2 pit stop races coming up, so fuel saving is important. So don't be surprised to see drivers hanging back in the opening stint particularly.
Yeah, of course, that'll be for the second race tonight. This first race, it's a 30-minute race, effectively a sprint race here in this championship. And then the second race of the evening is a 60-minute race. 1 pit stop for the drivers, unless, of course, they can manage to go the whole race without making a pit stop if we do have a change in climatic conditions. So Paul Smith, the weatherman, I think might be coming out for the second race, given some of the predictions that I've seen shared on the weather forecast for race number 2 of the evening. But the time is counting down towards the end of qualifying, and it officially flicks over to the race session. So what we will be able to do is run you through your starting grid here, and on pole position then, well, it's the less favoured car, allegedly. Alex Davidson and Ross McFarlane on the front row of the grid, the two teammates in the Porsche. Well, it's the favoured car right now. Josh Thompson, though, and Victor Wolfson on the second row of the grid, with Michael Evdoka and James Boumé on the third row of the grid. Dennis Grabowski and Alex Gall then on row number 4, with Jack Sedgwick, row number 5, alongside him as Anders Meyer in that large Mustang. Andy Archer, as we pointed out, was the top of the Pro-Am qualifiers, a second and a half off of the overall pole position time. Alongside him is going to be Adam Watson, and see how he gets on a row number 6. Row 7 for Joe Newman and Michael Gray, the Pro-Am Championship leader, then on starting right behind his championship competitor of Adam Watson. Mads Kelton, what a lap time it is for the Am driver for Bayos Simsport. Finds himself on row number 8 alongside Nathan Moore, with Chris Chatterton and Mike Barber rounding out row number 9. So 10th row of the grid for Will Guthrie and Richard Simner. Then Paul Webster and Andy Shield, two of the series admins, sharing the same row of the grid. I hope they don't end up wiping each other out, or else there'll be uncomfortable silences in the admin room. Then it's Harry Langford and Jack Osborne on row number 12. It's the 13th row of the grid for the next AMs of Andrew Fairley and Jessica Payne-Wilkins, with Mike Horner and Bacon Zelenka then on row of the 14. The 15th row is Jonathan Walker and Simon Andre Livingston. Row number 16 then, Ian Brown and Ben Altria, with Ben Hackerson and Adam Hedgecock sharing the next row of the grid, with Ben Benioff and Nathan Healy on row number 18. The 19th row for Axel Sliptrovich and Leander Engelvelt. Then Phil Samways, Ben Gregory on row 20. Row 21 for Nick Kirstens. Actually, Nick Kirstens will not be taking the start. And Josh Boot, and is at the back of the field. I believe also we are missing Axel Sliptrovich and Leander Engelvelt. So 3 drivers not taking the start of this race, Peter.
It's a pity. It's a pity that they've not made it to the start, as we've got quite a short parade here behind the pace car going through the Porsche curves, and we'll hear the French Air Force coming overhead with their version of the Red Arrows, which is blue. And we don't get the Marseillaise. I think we have to get the Marseillaise scanned into or recorded into the iRacing starts at Le Mans. I think that would be very cool.
Yeah, well, we do get those, the tricolore flyover with the smoke.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a nice little touch that's been added to this track, and it's there from the start of iRacing, having the Circuit de la Sarthe. I like it. Little touches like that I do like in a racing sim.
It's got the correct pit lane hooter. I like a pit lane hooter. I think the Nürburgring has got a great pit lane hooter. Barcelona, not so much. It's like, this is not very nice. There they are.
There we go with the tricolore. Well, the drivers are heading into the Ford chicane then for the first time tonight. The Porsche pace car pulls off to the right-hand side, and it's onto the loud pedal. Green flag is in the air. We're underway for 30 minutes of action here in this first race, and already we've got a spinner. It's a full tilt car facing the wrong way. Got to be careful not to get yourself a black flag there. We've got the number 2 as well facing the wrong way. So multiple issues for Simon Andre Livingston, and I believe it was Michael Gray. Yes, it was. He's dropped all the way down to the back of the field here in the early going, in towards the Dunlop chicane, and then through the S's after the chicane. It's one of the most iconic shots, I think, of seeing cars coming through underneath. And that's Shield. Shield.
Jack Sedgwick.
Oh, Jack Sedgwick, sorry, yeah.
Yes, number 1, Jack Sedgwick is off. Our defending champion, second in the championship right now. He is off the road. That is significant. And look at the start from Josh Thompson there in third place. He's right behind the two leading Porsches, and he'll be wanting to really try and take advantage of that turbocharged Ferrari power plant. He's right in there behind the two Porsches of Alex Davidson and Ross McFarlane, who are actually they look like they're bump drafting each other along the well, certainly the Ross McFarlane bump drafting into the back of Alex Davidson, actually working together to stay ahead. We've seen this sort of tandem running before. Remember the Apex Racing team at Daytona? It's either last year or the year before in their Audis, and it did work. So let's see if they do the same thing.
As they go down the second part of the Mulsanne straight then, and yes, you were right, it was Jack Sedgwick. It's very difficult when you've got two Ferraris that are both black in paint colour that doesn't distinguish them, and as through goes James Boumet then. Oh, he can't get the car slowed down enough though for the second part of the chicane. Oh, and Michael Evdoka almost contact with him, and here comes Grabowski in all of this as well, and they're in danger here of fighting too hard and allowing the leaders to pull away as they head towards Mulsanne for the first time.
I'd be amazed if James Boumet gets away without a slowdown penalty, but I am amazed because it appears he has. As up the inside then goes Evdoka in the Porsche, being aggressive as always. Evdoka definitely plays the team game with WSR, and yeah, side by side there with Boumet. So yeah, it's going to be a big battle there between them, and they're absolutely flat out all the way down the hill towards Indianapolis and Arnage now.
Yeah, this is where they sort themselves out, and yet both of the Altitude Esports cars pull ahead then of Michael Evdoka as we head towards Indianapolis, one of the trickiest parts of the course. Come round that corner absolutely flat out, then hard onto the anchors, onto the brakes, into the left-hander. It is cambered in your favour, so you can carry a little bit more speed than you think that you can. Come out of there, and then one of the trickiest corners on all of this track, Arnage, because of that tyre barrier right there on corner exits. Caught so many people out over the years.
It has. It's a really awkward corner, and then it's on the run all the way up the hill now towards the Porsche curve. You're almost at this point just preparing yourself and taking a deep breath in and preparing yourself for the really long, fast right here, and then the quick flick over to then this really fast left-hander, and then you got another fast left-hander, and then guess what? Don't relax, you got another fast right-hander here, and then the little short left karting and Corvette. Oh, that's a massive accident. The Ferrari off. Car there on 35. Oh dear.
That's huge, is that? And that's what happens if you get things wrong, isn't it, through Porsche curves? It is a massive accident awaiting you. They have made changes over the years to increase the amount of runoff that's available to the cars to allow them a bit safer run through there. Slowdown penalty for Adam Watson. There's also a Porsche going really slow down the start and finish straight. I think that's Nathan Moore. So he's another one. Ross McFarlane's got a slowdown, so too does Alex Davidson. And Josh Thompson takes the lead. Victor Wolfson trying to follow him.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. That's on. You can see McFarlane just serving the slowdown penalty there, has to duck in behind and tuck in behind Victor Wilson. Now the question is, can Thompson break away from Victor Wilson? It's a big ask, it's a really big ask, but it's he's at the moment Wilson will be picking up a bit of a slipstream. In fact, from our live relative time, you can just see it 100th of a second by 100th of a second down the straight they go. So is Thompson able to break it? He's not trying to break the toe, so he's obviously feels like it's a waste of time trying to pull away, because you're just not going to be able to, especially with someone in the same brand of car behind you. So I wonder, a little bit of a lot of confusion there at the start from Michael Gray. There he made Sedgwick losing it at just on the way to Tech Rouge through the Force S's.
Of course, Michael Gray, Pro-Am Championship leader coming into this week, so that's big for him. Huge for him in his fight for the championship. I will say, well held by Jack Sedgwick there. Could have been a whole lot worse. Could have been easy to overcorrect and end up flicking it off the other way.
That looked weird. that looked very strange. This one a little bit easier to explain, but that Cedric moment looked odd. It just seemed the car just broke out of control quite quickly. Very strange to me.
Oh, Josh Boot going around through. Now, officially, is that karting or is that Corvette now?
Oh, I
can never remember the two.
I don't know.
Ian Brown into the second chicane down the Mulsanne straight. And there's contact with Joe Newman. Around he goes. Poof, nerfs into the wall. Loses the rear wing. Well, if nothing else, he's going to be quick down the straights now.
It's the low drag spec Corvette. Long tail. That's super light.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
well, it's
true.
just got lighter.
True. It's just got lighter. Yeah. Touring. It's the Corvette C8R Touring.
Has it got a big boot though to be a touring? That's what I want to know.
But it's not. Touring just means it's not got a wing. I don't know how that makes it better for touring. But anyway, then there we go. There we go. Also, we've got a Skoda Fabia Club Sport. It's got, instead of electric windows in the back, it's wind-up windows. That's the safe way. That's a sport feature.
I can tell.
Skoda Fabia 1 litre Club Sport.
I can tell you right now, Simon Andrea Livingston unfortunately isn't laughing because he's got a black flag. So he's obviously not been able to serve a slowdown penalty. And I want to touch on that slowdown penalty that Ross McFarlane had in particular. Both him and Alex Davidson picked up slowdown penalties. I'm guessing from my experience around here, that was at the first chicane. Look at how long it took for Ross to serve that slowdown penalty. It wasn't until he was partway down the first part of the Mulsanne straight before he'd served that slowdown.
And it's a strange one, isn't it? Very, very strange. Well, so Thompson from Wilson, from Alex Davidson, then James Boomey and Grabowski, then it's McFarlane who's dropped right back. Yeah, so he had another slowdown penalty.
McFarlane?
I think. Yeah.
No, it was just the one.
Just the one. God, that was really punishing.
I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to just sort of feather it and not lose as much time as possible. The problem is that it takes so long then to serve that slowdown penalty that you're serving it on one of the long straights here at this track. There's plenty of those long straights here. You want to be serving it going into a corner, so at least then you're carrying your normal speed out the corner down one of these straights. In my opinion.
Definitely. Well, he's tucked in behind Grabowski right now, and he's in fact pushing Grabowski on, going for the bump draft tactics, and he'll be trying to minimise his fuel usage as much as possible with Ross McFarlane, because there's a pit stop in this race where time can be won and lost in terms of how much fuel you need to put in the car. So if you're using the car in front as a slipstream, you can save a lot of fuel.
That'll be for the next race. This is the 30-minute sprint race where there is no pit stop. Yeah, that'll be for the next race.
Right.
Where we have got the pit stop.
My apologies.
The 1 hour. Yeah. Michael Gray and Josh Boot, by the way, have got mechanical meatball warning flags. They are on pit road. Yeah, they've not been having fun out there, especially Michael Gray. This could potentially be a real turning point in terms of the Pro-Am Championship. Adam Watson needs a really good week here, and he's not doing too bad in 11th place right now. As we look a little bit further back down your field, and we've got the DCW Racing driver then of Richard Simner. Chris Chatterton just in front of him. And look at this queue of cars, and it all starts with Jack Sedgwick there at the front of them.
So yeah, Cedric, after that little spill on the opening lap, he's in 12th right now. So yeah, not where he'd want to be. He wants to try and make moves forward if he can. The only problem is it's very difficult to make big steps forward at this track, as you mentioned earlier on, Paul. So yeah, not the track to make a mistake early on. Let's see how far up he can get. 12th right now. Here's
what happened to Taylor Lane. Oh, well, that's a bit rude. going into the Porsche curves, and that's then Michael Gray who got involved in all of that. So Taylor Lane got his nose chopped off, loses control, and Michael Gray had nowhere to go in all of that. I can tell you that we have lost Ben Bennyworth out of the session now. He's decided to not continue in this race. We have had an update from Mark Fletcher as well, the team boss at Altitude Esports. Axel Slipčević, his internet was bad and he's decided to park the car because there was no point trying us. Bacon Zelenka now having issues on the exit of the Porsche curves.
That's so frustrating. So frustrating. I mean, you get technical issues in the outdoor world of motorsport, and you get technical issues here in the sim. They're just slightly different things that go wrong, and yet internet instability is a common one. Phil Samways, just about holds it together. Keeps out the wall, just.
Oh, now slow down for Grabowski. Grabowski with a slow down penalty. And James Boumate's behind him, and here comes Evdoka. So these two cannot escape Michael Evdoka here. And Evdoka's he's trying his best to get between the two of them. A little bit of a rubber shoulders. Yeah, this is the shot I was on about, the iconic shot down through the S's here. And Evdoka does have the inside line. Oh, makes contact, dodge-door contact. And that unsettles the car. That allows Boumate to pull away, and now it brings Evdoka into the clutches of Alex Gall.
Well, and of course Alex Gall in that Ferrari, he's got to be feeling pretty confident as well with the straight line performance of that car, especially mid-range and higher range. He's right in there behind Evdoka now as they come down the Mulsanne straight towards the Daytona chicane, it's now known.
It's really good because whenever I do a broadcast for another organisation who is a car manufacturer, I'm not normally allowed to say the name of that first chicane because it's usually sponsored by a video game or something like that. Well, I don't need to worry about that now. It's the Daytona chicane.
Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Yeah. First Mulsanne chicane will do as well, I always think.
Yeah. As we go onto the brakes, we're hanging on for dear life onto the door handles of Anders Meyer car as Alex Gall runs across the inside of that chicane, does just get away with that. That's fine, you can run all four wheels over that inside curb. As the arbiter of track limits here, I don't know how comfortable I am with that, but there you go. keep it on the track is what I say, but there we go. These three though, all together and still trying to work their way back towards Boumate and Grabowski and McFarlane.
I think it always is a bit fluid, the track limits at Le Mans. It's not a permanent circuit. I think you could afford to be a bit more relaxed about it, Paul, surely.
It's only in extreme circumstances is what I would say of that. Don't be taking the Michael, but you know, if a circumstance calls for it, say avoiding something or whatever, then yeah, absolutely. But anyway, enough of me money. Do you know what my favourite thing about track limits, I'm going to go on to this now, is the Spa 24 hours, because you can tell when the judge of fact has gone to bed, because suddenly there's no track limit penalties happen overnight.
Yeah, can you imagine though, trying to concentrate and work in race control for 24 hours solid? And that's what they do. That's the crazy part, is that you see at Daytona, you know, Bo Barfield, the head steward, race director, he stays up the whole 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling. I don't think I could physically do that.
Boumate's got a slow down penalty through the exit of the Porsche curves, so he's having to serve that and now has done, but that'll bring Michael Evdoker, Alex Gall and Anders Meyer towards him now. It's going to be the race or races of slowdown penalties, I think. That's going to be a big story feature of this round and this week of the World GT Championship. And we found out what's happened to Phil Samways, by the way. Thank you for getting into the YouTube chat. His wheel disconnected, and that's what put him into the wall. Worst place on the track, Indianapolis, for your wheel to disconnect.
Yes, that's not pleasant at all. Really not pleasant. What a shame. That is a pity, and the McLarens were tipped to go well here too.
Where is the best place McLaren, actually? I'm having to look down my order. It is Andy Shield, isn't it, in 19th? It's not been a day for the McLaren at all, has it? Because Phil Samways, as we mentioned, he had that disconnect. He is back out of pit lane, so he has taken repairs. And in fact, he's the only other McLaren that I can see out there today.
Well. Yeah, it seems like it's the Ferrari that's really, and you think actually a lot of the strong drivers are in Ferraris too. So it's a lot of it comes down to the driver that's in the car too that makes a big difference. Oh, that was late.
And do you know what? Osborne's got a slow down penalty for that as well. You see, that's it. That's what I don't like, is the consistency. If you're going to allow to go for all four wheels over the left-hand curb on the exit of the second chicane, why are you not allowed to do that on that curb that he just had to take to avoid Andy Shield in front of him? There's no consistency there, you see. This is why, Peter, you need my approach to track limits. You stay on it or you get penalised.
I'd love to hear your voice coming over the radio like they have on the broadcast of the Spa 24 and stuff like that. You go, hey, that's enough.
Track limits.
Do as you're told.
I've told you once, I've told you 100 times.
Not again.
Adam Watson and Josh Boot have both got themselves a slow down penalty now, so Watson is behind Jack Sedgwick in all of this, and he's going to be pretty much at the front of this queue of cars now. We have got a big queue here, haven't we? It's actually Mads Kelton who's leading that queue, but you've got Kelton, Guthrie, Chatterton, Nathan Moore, Mike Barber, Richard Simner, Andy Shield, all together here in this queue of cars.
That's a big old train, isn't it? Big old train, and it will come down to, what will we have? 3 laps to go at the line. So yeah, it's starting to get towards the business end of things now.
I'll tell you now, Peter, Rory in the chat, it's the only time I've ever heard myself compared to John Watson. I mean, I'll take it, you know, multiple Formula 1 race winner, but
he's a thoroughly nice man. I've interviewed him before. A very nice man.
As
are you, Paul.
Well, I always go by what other people think. Some are kinder than others with what they think about me, but enough about that. Here's Chris Chatterton. Prasad the Nomad, it's been a tough season for the team. I think it's safe to say they're currently, last place in the Pro Teams Championship. It's all down to Chris Chatterton now. He's the only one left in the team who's continuing to hold the fort for them, as Ian Brown at the chicane, Dunlop chicane, carried too much speed, loops it round.
Oh, Ian Brown, he has had a difficult old time of things, hasn't he? He's just had a few really tough rounds back to back. So yeah, just not getting on top of that Corvette at all. It doesn't seem that Corvette seemed to be. The drivers just don't seem to be gelling with it at all.
He's got the fear, is I think what we'll say about Ian Brown. He certainly wants to be adored, but that's for later on.
It's more Code Brown.
The leaders now, less than 10 minutes to go. and the three of them together, and it's neck and neck. Alex Davidson, I think, is in the pound seat right now. This is going to be this lap plus 2 more laps. Being in 3rd place at this stage isn't the worst place to be in the world.
No, I don't think so. I think if you're right there, any one of those 3 cars could lead it. It's going to go down to the wire, isn't it? And Wilson and Davidson right in there. It's just, yeah, who's gonna have it on that last lap? Look at the amount of room they use on the exit there. I can feel your skin crawling.
Yeah, it's when you come back to me on the camera and you see me with a nervous twitch, you know, the track limits have been abused.
Your shoulder's just gone up and down.
Oh, that was late on the brakes from Alex Davidson into Mulsanne. I think he was maybe thinking he was going to be slowing down a bit quicker than he was, and had to get on that middle pedal a bit harder than he would have liked. The run down here between Mulsanne and Indianapolis is actually the longest flat-out section, isn't it, Peter, through there?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you really are carrying some huge speed down. The thing about Indianapolis is it's that really quite high load corner, and then you're immediately on the brakes. And if you're in a car that's nervous, it's horrible through there. And there's seen so many good drivers throw it off there. Capello threw it off there one year. Alex Prema threw it off. Kevin Escher threw it off in qualifying. So it catches even the very best out.
Seems to be every year, and Aston Martin seems to throw it into the wall there as well. It is one of the most challenging corners on the track. People say Porsche curves. I mean, quite rightly, it's a daunting section of track as Porsche curves when you're running such a low downforce setup. But Indianapolis, for me, as you mentioned, you're coming there, it's the highest velocity that you're going to be around this track. You're throwing it through there and then immediately onto the brakes, and it's just such a sketchy part of the track.
It is, yes, it really is. Put Thompson there getting really wiggly through those quick flip-flop corners. He's holding on to it well for now. 2 laps to go then. And who's going to put some points on the board? Thompson, he's 107 points from Davidson at the moment. So actually, you've got to think, and with Sedgwick a little bit further back, sitting in 11th right now, for Alex Davidson in 3rd, at this stage of the championship, it's not a disaster.
No, absolutely not. And you can... Oh, he's picked up a slowdown. He's picked up a slowdown as Davidson. Oh, that is the last thing you wanted to do through the Dunlop chicane. He's back up to speed now. But 2 laps to go, in 3rd place, right on the tail of the front 2. He would have wanted to have been right on the tail of these 2 into this lap and the last lap. As he's picked up enough a slowdown penalty through Tete Rouge. Oh my goodness, Bacon Zelenka, Ben Altria, Adam Hedgecock, Jack Sedgwick, they've all got slowdown penalties all of a sudden. It seems to be concentration. You've got to keep your concentration up all the way through this race.
Yeah, so easy, so easy to just dip a wheel in the wrong place, and such a shame, ah dear.
I mean, he's got away with it as Davidson, hasn't he? Because he's kept his 3rd place through all of that. They've built up such a gap that he's been lucky and fortunate to not lose a place.
Yeah, and the next driver behind him is his teammate Ross McFarlane, who I don't think is going to make his life difficult. So, yeah, it's consequence-free really. But well, the only consequence being you can't really try and put the battle to the 2 Ferraris. So now it's just a 2-horse race, a shootout between Thompson and Wilson. Does Wilson have enough up his sleeve to be able to make a move and take this race win?
Can I just say, that was a lovely move from Mike Barber around the outside of Mads Kelton going into the Daytona chicane there. Very nice, round the outside into the chicane. Lovely stuff from Mike there as they head towards the 2nd chicane. This corner is so difficult to get right as well. When you look at a map of Le Mans, it's dead easy, is that? A bunch of straights, couple of corners, you're fine. Oh, it's so difficult to get right time and time and time again.
It's it's really nuanced in places, I think, is the best way to put it. Particularly, you look at a corner like Mulsanne, you think, oh, it's just it's pretty much like a square right. It's like Ypres Rally. No, not quite. It's you've got just a right, really gentle right-hander. Then you got to try and straight line brake the car and get it turned in and carry as much speed and get the best drive you can. Because if you make a mess of Mulsanne, you are losing time all the way down the straight through until Indianapolis, and that feels like an age if you get it wrong.
As Alex Gall fighting with Michael Evdoka. Oh, the little cutback through Arnage. Not going to be enough though for Alex, so he'll have to slot in behind once again. The drivers are going to be starting their final lap of the race in just a few moments' time here, as Gall used the slipstream of that Porsche down the inside into Porsche curves. But look at that, round the outside for Evdoka, gives him the inside for the next two. That's a boot onto the grass there from Gall. I think he was, I wasn't expecting Evdoka to still be there alongside.
No, I guess he wasn't. Evdoka, we know that he's never backs down from a fight ever, and hanging in there in 7th position under a lot of pressure from the Ferrari of Gall and the Mustang of Van der Meyer, who you'd expect that car to be very strong here too.
Yeah, you would, absolutely. It's really good in a straight line. Its long wheelbase suits this track as well. Alex Gall, the Frenchman, though, trying to get a good result here on home soil, and he'll be wanting to move forward and get ahead of Evdoka in this one. As through the Dunlop chicane, you can see why so many people have been picking up slow down penalties through that chicane. The amount of curb that they are cutting through there, it's fine margins is what you're working to, but it's what you have to do to be right up there at the very top of this field.
It is, and it's just all about that, preparation, getting the setup absolutely spot on, working away at practice, trying to optimize every single section, comparing with your teammates, what gear are you in there, what line are you taking, etc. Listen to that. On the down changes, here we go.
It just sounds so lazy, doesn't it?
Oh, lovely.
Well, we found Peter's new new hobby, watching onboards of the Mustang. As we go along now towards the second chicane with the two teammates of Grabowski and Boumet. I mean, Grabowski's not out of the Pro Championship fight yet, so don't write him out of getting the result, although he has just picked up a slowdown penalty on the inside of the exit of that corner, so he must have cut it by a mile. Here, though, is the race for the lead between Josh Thompson and Victor Wolfson. Wolfson's got a race win. Josh Thompson, of course, a couple of race wins this season. Both wanting to get another one in the books and out of sight. But right now, it's Wolfson on the charge here towards Indianapolis. Of course, it was Mazzano that Wolfson won at. Josh Thompson last week at Spa. Here we go. Race for the lead. Is this going to be the change? You've got to be waking up early to beat Josh Thompson. But round the outside, Wolfson. Big wiggle into Indianapolis. Thompson holds it round the outside. That gives him the inside for Arnage. And that should be Thompson's for now.
Oh, look at the drive that Wilson gets, though, but can he use it? Just about he can. I mean, to be very fair, Thompson gives him space, a lot of space there, and opens it up. He could have crowded him out there, but he didn't. as they race side by side now, rushing up towards Porsche cars. This is going to be who blinks first. They almost touch wing mirrors there as they go sizing each other up. Thompson's going to go for it, but Wilson holding it on the inside as they come around the first part of the Porsche cars, right up against the wall, and Thompson goes into the lead.
That was plain chicken at 170 miles an hour right there as Thompson and Wolfson come through the exit the Porsche curves. It's going to be very difficult for Wolfson to make a move to the lead. So Thompson then, all he's got to do is keep it on the grey stuff through the final Ford chicane. And well, he won last week at Spa-Francorchamps in the endurance round. Here, it's the sprint race of the special round, and it's Josh Thompson who takes the win of race number 1 of the evening. Victor Wolfson, though, gave it everything he could to try and beat him. Here's Andy Archer, Atomic Esports, coming towards the Ford chicane for the final time. Up over the curb, and Archer, in that Ferrari, takes a race win.
Great to see Andy Archer back in victory circle, and Matt Kelson's going to make it 3 Ferraris up on top.
Yeah, Kelton in the AM category, comes across the line, takes an AM win here, took pole position in AM and finishes in a good, solid result for him. Down 3 places from where he started, but I think he'll still be happy getting the AM win. We got the last few coming across the line. We're going to have to wait quite a while here, Peter, before we can give you a final race result. But my goodness, there's battling all the way through this field.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Very tough from the back of the field. Very, very tough indeed.
I will say, biggest mover in the field, Ben Gregory, 14 places gained in this race. That's quite the effort, actually, from starting at the back of the grid. And he's got to do it again in race number 2. He's got a back of the grid start for race number 2.
That's and I hear that it's just so difficult to make those big steps up the order. So tricky at this circuit. It's just the way that it sets out. Let's see what the grid's going to look like.
Yeah, oh my goodness. We have no reverse grid. So that we are going to be starting as we finished this race. We've got to wait for 2 more cars to come across the line. They're just finishing, but we'll take you through what the grid will be for race number 2. Wow, it's been a while since we've seen that. It is Josh Thompson then on pole position ahead and wins the race here in race number 1. He finishes ahead of Victor Wolfson, but only by 7/10 of a second. Alex Davidson ahead of Ross McFarlane, so good day so far for Davidson in the results in 3rd and 4th place for those two. Boumé and Grabowski, the 2 teammates, 5th and 6th ahead of Michael Avdoka and Anders Meyer. Alex Gall and Jack Sedgwick round out your 10. Andy Archer is your winner in Pro-Am. He is 11th placed overall. He finished by a good margin over Adam Watson, it must be said. There was 2nd place in Pro-Am. 3rd place in Pro-Am was Chris Chatterton, the sole Prestando Nomad driver. He's there in 13th overall. Will Guthrie 14th ahead of Nathan Moore, Andy Shield and Mike Barber. Mads Kelton for Bayos Simsport takes the AM win here ahead of Richard Timner and Joe Newman. Your next AM, 2nd place in AM, 21st overall for Andrew Fairley, and then it's Paul Webster and Harry Langford. Jonathan Walker, your championship contender in AM, finishes 3rd in AM, 24th overall ahead of the big mover of Ben Gregory. Ben Hackerson then ahead of Mike Horder, Ben Altria, Adam Hedgecock and Nathan Healy. Baker Zelenka, after his issues early on, ahead of Ian Brown, who also had a change of setup with the car, shall we say, removing the rear wing. Jesse Payne Wilkins, Simon Andrew Livingston and Josh Boots down in 34th, 35th. 2 drivers 1 lap down, Phil Samways and Jack Osborne, and then drivers who did not finish, Taylor Lane, Michael Gray and Ben Bennyworth. and then 3 who did not finish. Axel Slipkovic, who did not start, neither did Lander Engelveld and Nick Kirstens. So, Peter, no reverse grid is the draw. It's been a heck of a long time since I've been able to say that. What effect does that have on drivers? I mean, I presume for Josh Thompson, Victor Wolfson, it's okay, ding ding, round 2.
I mean, they've got to be delighted. I mean, it's so unexpected that it means that they can put a big number on the board in the championship, and well, Davidson will be very glad to get home in 3rd place in that scenario, because he can also solidify his position. Probably the big loser from it is Jack Sedgwick, because of where he finished. He's with a small reverse grid, he could have been in a really good position to go and win race 2. Now he's got a little bit of work to do, so let's see.
He's going to be keen on lap 1, isn't he? He's going to be pushing that as Jack, finishing 10th in that first race. I think if you're a few of the drivers, especially in Pro-Am, I think they'll be a little bit disappointed in not getting a reverse grid draw though, but that's what you get with the look of a draw.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's why we have it. We have sometimes where it brings up a complete reverse grid. We've seen that before, and that's always a lot of fun. So yeah, interesting to see a non-reverse grid, and well, yeah, just a great opportunity for those front-running drivers, and it certainly will make the race quite clean too. You would hope. Race 1 was very clean there, so you would hope that it would run in a similar way.
If you're Michael Gray, it's a case of damage limitation now. Didn't finish that first race. Pro-Am leader coming into this week. He's going to be starting 39th on the grid. Well, 38th, because of course Ben Gregory's got a back of grid for this race. It's going to be a tough old day for people who had incidents and are having to work their way through. You mentioned it. It's quite difficult to make those big spots like you would at another track, say Spa last week.
It is, yeah. It's just for the way that the slipstreaming works, you can make a great overtaking move, and then on the very next straight, you just get passed again. So it is tricky. You've just got to try and accept that and do your best.
You certainly do. We are waiting for the second race server of the evening to come up, and then what we'll do is we'll get you to the action as soon as we can. It'd be interesting to see also if the prediction of wet weather comes into play, because if anything, that could be a little bit of a curveball in all of this of not having a full reverse, of having no reverse grid, should I say.
Yeah, that could be huge, because this is a long lap around. If you put the wrong tyre on, you've got a long way around, and then it's tricky. If you go a lap too long on the wrong tyre, you can lose a lot of time. So that decision, or making the wrong decision, is more severely punished on a lap as long as this.
I mean, we saw it big enough at Zandvoort, didn't we, with Alex Davidson being on the wrong tyre at the wrong time. Times that by a 4-minute lap, it is painful for those drivers. Right, we are going to step aside for just a couple of moments' time, but stick around because it's a 1-hour race coming up after these messages.
them as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Welcome back to the World GT Championship. It is Paul Smith and Peter Mackay here from Circuit de la Sarthe at Le Mans. And, well, I'm going to call him out. Adam Watson feeding me duff information saying that it was going to be raining. Look at that, there's blue skies in the sky. No precipitation at all, so I'll be having words afterwards. But Peter, I think that makes a few drivers' lives a bit easier now, though, in knowing that there's not going to be any rain today.
Well, yeah, that certainly is a turn up from what we thought would happen, and it does make the drivers at the front of the field, you know, it's the best news for them again. Same as the no reverse grid draw, because it just takes out variables. They've got the speed to win on speed. The rest who are chasing, they might need other, you know, external factors to help them in their efforts, and that's of course that's where the rain comes in and things like that. So definitely a nice, clear, clean conditions are exactly what the front runners want.
Yeah, certainly they'll be delighted seeing that. It's got a little bit cooler out there. Mostly cloudy. We're into the evening here as well, so we've heard Josh Thompson say in the past about how that Ferrari likes the cool conditions. Well, this is perfect for it now, isn't it? It's spot on. The car, the engine will be loving that cooler air as well. Gives it a little bit more bite, a little bit more power out the corners.
Yeah, that's what Le Mans is like. That you've got those slow corners and punch. That traction is very important, but it's, you know, you need power all the way through for Le Mans. It's, you know, and of course the low downforce trim too, goes without saying. Low drag, low downforce, and that's so important. And yeah, power all the way through from the traction to the top end, and a bit of updrafting as well sometimes helps too.
Yes, absolutely. I always like to give people a bit of perspective about this venue, and Peter knows exactly what I'm about to mention. So to give people a little bit of perspective about just the size, the scale of this venue, from the end to end of the Mulsanne Straight, that's the same length as the Sebring International Raceway. And you think that's quite a long. It's considered one of the longer tracks of endurance racing, and yet it's dwarfed by this place.
It is, and you think what it must have been like to drive it with no chicanes as well.
Group C days, good grief.
Group C day. Well, I think the Group C days were playing at it compared to the early 70s with Porsche 917. I mean, they're doing 235, 240 miles an hour in a Porsche 917, in a car that, if you were in an accident, well, you'd maybe be better off in a packet of hula hoops than in than in a Porsche 917. It was, you know, one of the cars, well, the car that won in 1971 here had a magnesium chassis frame. Imagine that. So, yeah, very light, but not so strong. With obviously very, very thin fiberglass body, but a thumping great flat 12 engine in the back. So, and that with no chicanes is just remarkable, absolutely remarkable.
I've had the pleasure of being able to get close and personal with the 917. I think it was the long tail that I got up close and personal with, and it's just incredible how almost compared to nowadays agricultural those cars were, and yet the speeds that they were able to achieve was just unbelievable.
Oh, they're enormous, and the obsession over lightweight with the car. The key for the car, because yes, it still had a key. The key, it's a tiny little door key that you would open one of your windows at home with, or a patio or something. The base of the key was drilled through to save not even a gram.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. The lengths that went to, but that's what you had to do to be a winner back then. You also had to make a car that would last a full 24 hours as well without having major services. Well, let's take you to your starting grid then, and it's where they finished from race number 1. So a nice quick grid compared to race number 1. It is Josh Thompson, Victor Wolfson ahead of Alex Davidson and Ross McFarlane on row 2. The third row, James Boumet and Edis Grabowski. Then Michael Evdoka alongside him, Anders Meyer, with Alex Gall and Jack Sedgwick. Watch out for Sedgwick on lap 1. He'll be wanting to try and make some moves forward. Andy Archer, Adam Watson then on row number 6. 7th row of the grid for Chris Chatterton and Will Guthrie. Nathan Moore, Andy Shield ahead of Mike Barber. And Mads Kelton rounds out round number 9. Row 10 for Richard Simner and Joe Newman, with Andrew Fairley and Paul Webster alongside him. Then Harry Langford and Jonathan Walker share row number 12. The 13th row of the grid, Ben Gregory and Ben Hackerson, with Mike Horder and Ben Altria then on row number 14. The 15th row, Adam Hedgecock and Nathan Healy. Row 16 for Baker's Lanker and Ian Brown, with Jesse Payne Wilkins, Josh Boot. Then Simon Andrea Livingston and Phil Samways sharing the next row. Final 2 rows of the grid, it's Jack Osborne and Michael Gray. Look out for him trying to get something out of this one. And Ben Bennyworth and Nick Kirstens round out your 40-car field. Nick will be taking the start of this one. And, well, here we go. Nice and cool for the drivers. Drivers trying to do what they can to get any heat and pressures into their tyres, because starting just before the Porsche curves, it's not the longest of runs. It's not the shortest either in terms of iRacing, but it's not the longest of runs to get temperature and tyre pressure up.
No, it isn't. It's you've got to get it. Yeah, quickly build that temperature pressure. Get the brakes warmed up as well. Not that long a run, as you say, Paul. And it's almost weird starting a race at Le Mans in these sorts of conditions. You're so used to, 4 o'clock in a summer's afternoon, bright sunshine, and now it's heading into the evening with the headlights on. It just feels odd.
Well, for me, I think this is almost like a safety car restart where they've had a full safety car period. And Le Mans knows plenty about that after this year, as the drivers get themselves prepared for the start of this one. Do we see another Ferrari victory here, Peter, or can Alex Davidson put the evils of slow down penalties behind him?
It's going to be difficult to topple the Ferraris. They've got 2 very strong drivers there, good grid position. Yeah, I think they're going to be tough to beat, I have to say.
Well, the drivers are heading into the Ford chicane then. Porsche pace car pulls off to driver's right, and Josh Thompson gets on the loud pedal. The green flag's in the air, and we're underway here for the 60-minute race here for the World GT in the special event, as they go through into, and already Ian Brown is around, so Josh Boot is as well. Ian's caught there. Oh, there's a spinner. That's one of the altitude cars. It's Dennis Trabowski, and bang! into one of those WSR Esports butt kicker cars. Oh my goodness, Cedric had to take avoiding action. Now, has that given him a slowdown penalty? It has, but he served it. But Grabowski, big drama going through turn 1 into the Dunlop chicane.
Oh, Grabowski, and it doesn't look like he's got a great deal of drive there. He might have to take a tow back to the pitch, which takes an age here at Le Mans with the length of the lap. So, what a shame. Well, Wilson assumes his position right in behind Thompson, where he spent most of the race. Won there, and he's just thinking, should we try and make a breakaway here? But it will be tough to make a breakaway from Alex Davidson. He's only 7/10 behind after that opening section.
It was Michael Evdoka, in the WSR Esports car, not the butt kicker team, who got caught up in that incident with Dennis Grabowski. So he ends up dropping down the order then, does Michael. He's got significant damage to the front of his car. And the problem is, with this being a race where you're expected to have a pit stop, with a fuel limit on the fuel cell as well, lap 1 is the worst lap to get any sort of damage, isn't it?
It is, yeah, because then you got to run with it. And with the effect that it has on aero and fuel consumption, yeah, it's a nightmare on this circuit, probably more than almost any other.
Oh, through the second chicane. Oh, big moment. Oh, that's Joe Newman. Oh, this is going to be a big one. Oh, hold your brakes. Oh my goodness, I thought we were going to have a massive accident, and I'm not a fan of that rejoin either in front of everybody. As at the front, Wolfson's looking aggressive. He's looking to carry on the fight from the first race of the evening, but Josh Thompson's having none of it here.
Oh, that was a heart starter there with Joe Newman wobbling all over the road, and very difficult for the other cars coming through to judge how to get by cleanly. But Wilson clearly wanting to work with Josh Thompson as much as possible to try and make some sort of breakaway from Alex Davidson, try and use that Ferrari speed. He's right in there behind him, trying to push him on down every single straight, trying to make that breakaway critically from Alex Davidson.
So Grabowski and Joe Newman both got mechanical meatball warning flags. They have taken the tour back to pit road. You've got Jack Osborne is way back off the back of the pack. He's just trying to recover after issues here on lap 1. This is only lap 1 of a 60-minute race, everybody. You would think that this was the last lap of that sprint race that we had just a few moments ago. Through the Porsche curves they go again. I think it was pertinent of Victor Wolfson not to try and overtake here. Just try and work together as... Oh, that's a bit clumsy between Ian Brown and Josh Boot. Boot, I'm sorry, Josh, but that gap was always going to close there.
It's on the race start. You're not even taking the green flag yet.
Oh, Jack Osborne. That's what happened to him, and that's why he's so far back. This is Grabowski, so that was losing it into the braking zone there.
Yeah, it's a strange one, just let go. And I mean, we know that Audi can be spiky, but that was even particularly early, even for one of those cars.
Evdoka's pitted, by the way, and I'm not surprised. Oh, it was losing it through. It was on the curb. That's where it lost it. And the problem for him is that he's holding the brakes, but there's nothing you can do at that point. He's really pretty much a passenger, isn't he?
Yeah, it seems so. What's happened to Andrew Fairley? Oh! Whoops.
That's called being a bit ambitious on the speed going into the corner. This from Joe Newman, though, I would hate to be one of those cars coming around and you just suddenly, it's like, which side do you go? That's why it's important to try and just hold the car straight and hold the brakes as well. I know it's easier said than done, but that rejoin, he almost collected somebody there. That's not the best.
You sit still at that point, you just sit still.
He's on pit road, that's his race. Well, he's still in the session as we take another look at it then. So this is the best shot here. Look at those cars coming through, and then watch. He's coming back across. Whoa, late stuff, and then he gets onto the loud pedal right there, just so close to another car, and then decides, do you know what, the best thing for me is to take a tour back to pit road. Yeah,
cut your losses at that point. And maybe the thump into the... Oh, Ben Altria, another of the Pro-Am front, AM-Class front runners, making a mistake there. And that's really important in that AM Championship, losing a lot of positions there, and picks up damage on the front right. Yeah, he does. Back to your race leaders. Through all of those replays, we've made it to Mulsanne Corner. That's how far they've done. Jack Sedgwick, I can tell you at the start of this lap, did pick up a slowdown penalty, so he's down a place from where he started. But these two right now, I mean, they're pulling away slightly from Alex Davidson. Davidson is still in that slipstream, but these two, I really do think that Wolfson needs to just sit behind Thompson, do a massive amount of fuel saving, and try and get him in the pits and not slow each other down to bring Davidson into that race. Yeah, well, they've opened it up a bit, actually. It was, Davidson had got more or less onto the back of Thompson and Wilson, but they've stretched it up to 0.8 of a second now, so there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity for them to try and make a break here. If they're really, really efficient and Davidson potentially makes an error, there's an opportunity for Thompson and Wilson to make a break. Yeah, certainly. Plenty of opportunities to make those breaks, but Alex Gall having to be on the defensive from the Pro-Am leader of Andy Archer. There's been so much happen on this opening lap that Archer, Watson, Chatterton and Guthrie find themselves all in the top 10 right now. We've lost a number of your pro runners from race number 1, top 10. That means that Gall's up 3 places. Archer, Watson, Chatterton and Guthrie all up 4 places. Andy Sheila, Mike Barber up 4 places as well. Richard Simner up 5. Harry Langford's up 8 places. Phil Samways, he's on a charge. He's up 13 places. And also, as Sedgwick's on the back of Will Guthrie right now, 14 places gained for Nick Kirstens from the start of this race. It just shows just how much carnage and chaos we've been actually seeing out there in these early stages of the race. You would not think this was an hour-long race with how things have been going. No, maybe not. No. So only 9 minutes into this race, there's plenty going on already, hasn't there? And that gap is just coming back a bit now at the front of the field, where Davidson is right in there. They've got a couple of seconds up in hand from the chasing pack led by Ross McFarlane, with Boomy in there as well. And then tell you what, Andy Archer, leader in Pro-Am, 7th overall. Fantastic stuff from him. Really has been a breakthrough race here after a difficult season, not in the top 5 in the Pro-Am Championship. So right, good to get a win on the board in race 1. Could he make it a double? Well, I was thinking exactly the same there, Peter. I mean, he's 13th in the Pro-Am standings coming into this week. And to get a win in Pro-Am in race 1, he's got a good potential of a win in race 2 here as well. It could be a good day in the office for Andy Archer and the Atomic Esports team. They've had a little bit of a change of fortunes in the last couple of weeks of Atomic Esports, so they'll be delighted with how things are going on here. I think they'll feel whole again. Thank you, Peter. Right, so as we go through, and we're going to tick 10 minutes away from the clock. Jack Sedgwick is up 1 place. You guys can't see it at home, but Peter's got his head in his hands, giggling to himself. I'm sorry. Verano Motorsport make a very good point in the YouTube chat. We pretend he didn't just make that joke. I think I've been saving that for about 3.5 seasons.
Anyways, at the front. Oh dear, Peter. This is why I like Monday night. It's not just with the racing, but
For the nonsense.
well, it's usually a case of trying to figure out what filling are you going to have in your sandwich this week. For
I had, honestly, Paul, I had the most amazing sandwich earlier on. Whole grain mustard, Wagyu sizzle steak, and cheddar cheese toasted on the grill.
minus the mustard for me.
You're not a whole grain mustard fan?
I'm not a condiments guy, really.
Condiments, no, just simple.
Yeah.
Don't mess about with it. Yeah.
Well, if it's good enough quality, it'll have enough taste, you see.
That's right, yeah. So you'd have just gone for the Wagyu sizzle steak and the cheddar.
Was it a nice mature cheddar as well?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Strong flavour.
As we go through, do you know what? You could have had it in a baguette in honour of Le Mans. Nice toasted baguette. That's lovely.
Oh, that would have worked really well. That would have really well. I think that's the thing for future, when it's in either Imola or Monza, I'll have it in a ciabatta, or a focaccia or something like that. Probably not ciabatta.
Have we said what our lunches were at Monza that we had to supply because we couldn't get across to the paddock when we were there?
Well, it was bread and oil and ham and
and cheese.
Yeah. Simple.
All the major food groups.
Exactly.
Anyway, but that was ciabatta, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. I'm making everybody at home hungry. I've got a good knack of doing that. Will Guthrie on to the tail of Chris Chatterton as they go on through Tete Rouge down the Mulsanne Straight, and it's certainly Chatterton in his Ferrari, the Audi of Will Guthrie. That Ferrari does seem to have some good pace down the straight. Seems to hold its own, and that's Will Guthrie in the slipstream as well, so he's struggling to get ahead. Ben Hackerson has taken a tour back to pit road, so something's happened to Ben out there in this second race. Andrew Fairley as well has taken a tour back to pit road in this one, and Hackerson's left the service, so he's done for today. Will Chadwick, I mentioned this because he actually won the main feature race of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup Contender Series yesterday. I suggested, Peter, that after his race win, he was going to have himself a Wigan kebab.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what a Wigan kebab is?
No.
So it's
not a kebab bought from a shop in Wigan, I presume.
No. It's a meat pie served in a bread roll.
Oh, that sounds carb-tastic. That sounds great.
And you finish it off with a jar of Uncle Joe's mint balls. That is true, by the way. That is a Wigan delicacy, isn't it? Uncle Joe's mint
Uncle
balls.
Joe's mint balls.
Yeah.
Right.
You think I'm joking about that? It's true.
I know you wouldn't joke about such matters.
It's the prize that everybody wants to win at the Golden Gamble at half-time of the rugby matches in Wigan. A jar of Uncle Joe's mint balls. It's usually like the 4th or 5th prize, is that? Do you want to win $2,500? No, I want the Uncle Joe's mint balls.
I want the balls. Yes.
Looking for
that Ferrari there could get sponsored by Uncle Joe's mint balls.
No, it couldn't, because it's a red tin.
Oh,
it's a red
Victor
tin.
Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Victor Wilson in second place, he could have the Uncle Joe's mint balls sponsorship on that car. So there you go, Victor. Get your agent on the phone and get the deal done for next week.
I'm surprised Will Chadwick hasn't been on the phone to them. Actually, seeing as he's from Wigan. Porsche race winner. There you go. Get it in your...
Yeah.
Get the clip from yesterday. Anyway, Wolfson, he's doing the smart thing here. He's not making any moves for Thompson. He's saving fuel, as is Alex Davidson. They've not been able to get away from Davidson here. We know how frugal that Porsche can be, by the way. Could this be one on strategy, or do you think that there's still a little twist in the tail of this one yet?
I think so. I think it's when we come into the pit stop phase where things could get a real bit spicier, where the entrance to the pit lane here is very, very particular. It's tricky, it's easy to make a mistake into there. So the pit in and pit out process, there's a lot of time to be gained there. It's almost like a kind of very scratchy tarmac single venue rally going into the pit lane here. It's really, really difficult. And I tell you what, these two Ferraris, they've not been able to drop Davidson. Now, question is, how hard has Davidson had to push to hang on to them? Or is he actually using the Porsche's #1 attribute, which is its frugal nature and the lack of fuel it uses? Is Davidson actually a sleeping dark horse here behind the two quite excitable dark horses in the Ferraris?
Yes, absolutely. Given how those two are at each other's throats going into the end of that first race of the evening. I saw behind as well, Ross McFall and James Boumé are pretty close together as well. You can see them in the background, a shot there. So fourth place is on offer for those two as we go through. Alex Gall is not that far. Oh no, he's leading Andy Archer, Jack Sedgwick and Adam Watson. So Sedgwick is slowly working his way through this top 10 after he had to take avoiding action from that incident at the Dunlop chicane on lap 1. He's having to do it tough, but once he gets past, or if he can get past Alex Gall and all of this, Sedgwick, he's got the best part of 8 seconds to then catch up to Boumé and McFarlane. That's pretty much unheard of around here.
It is, yeah, that is almost unheard of. That is where a quick burst of rain would definitely have made a difference, wouldn't it?
There was a car
to allow these things.
Then.
Is that Andy Shield?
It possibly was, yes.
Yes, 17 McLaren, yeah, it was Andy Shield.
So Andy showing how not to take that. He thought he was going on to the roundabout, didn't he?
That's it. Nicky Team's been round that roundabout in an Aston Martin, I seem to remember.
Yeah, he has, yeah. I remember seeing that as well. Didn't he get a telling off for that as well?
Oh, quite a large one. A very, very angry telling off, yes.
Yeah. Nicky Team is one of those drivers where his team always seems to do well, but then something happens when he's not in the car. He seems to be one of the most unfortunate GT3 drivers, I think, in my history of watching GT3.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the GTE era, it was quite different. He was just him and Marcus Sorensen were just a winning machine in the Dane Train, the 95. They won World Championship in the car, won a lot of races. So yeah, it's a strange one. But you're right, there has been things. They've been in the hunt at the Nürburgring before, in the 24, and he's won it before, of course. But he could have had more. He could have had more at a lot of races. Good Nicky Team.
Yeah, he certainly could, and it's been unfortunate over the years. But yeah, when he does win, boy does he celebrate. Why wouldn't you? Adam Watson has just got a slow down penalty. We were riding on board with him when he picked it up through the Ford chicane, so that allows Sedgwick to pull away, and he can focus now on Andy Archer in front, as James Boumé has made it past Ross McFarlane then through the S's That's an unusual place to actually make a move on the exit of Dunlop chicane through the S's. It's usually you set them up through this corner, Tete Rouge, down the straight.
Yeah, and sometimes that's where the element of surprise comes in to overtake where you wouldn't quite expect it. Really close together here between Boumet and McFarlane. The thing is, this was the championship battle a couple of seasons ago, wasn't it? The two of them were glued together, and they're just that little bit off the absolute ultimate pace in this race.
I wonder if it was a slowdown penalty for Ross. Yes, it was. He pulled over straight away to serve that slowdown penalty. He cut just a little bit too much of the inside of the first part of the Dunlop chicane. It's not the end of the world for Ross, though, if you ask me. I think he'll be happy to get some fuel saving from behind James Boumet's car now and work like that. Although he's making it look like that he wants that position into the second chicane. So it's been a tough night for these two, and I say that as two drivers who finished 4th and 5th in the first race of the evening. Boumet especially, with him fighting for the championship and being that little bit further behind, 118 points off of Davidson coming into this week, he's losing more points to Davidson. And you pointed it out, Peter, right at the start. This is the part of the season now where you start setting yourself up for that run in to the end of the season.
Yeah, that's, of course, you got that week off, that break, that week off, then 3 weeks finish towards the end of the run to the end of the season. And yeah, Davidson, you got to say, has driven a very, very good season right now. He's putting himself in a superb place to go for this championship, to win his first World GT Championship. Crazy thing to say.
Yeah, when you think, the pace that Alex has shown in previous seasons and put on a championship charge in the last couple of seasons in particular, and it's just not worked out for him, has it? So he's trying to make this his season, and he's putting the best foot forward for the time being, being in the lead of Pro. But we have seen that gap just slowly come down at the top of Pro, so I think him finishing third today wouldn't be the end of the world with Thompson being at the front of the field right now.
No, not the end of the world at all. Thompson's, came into this round 107 points behind, so he's got to just almost win everything from now on into the race. When we don't have I think with the sprint race format, when we had 3 sprint races in an evening, that is where you could see big swings in points, and also because they were more fractious and more things could go wrong in them too. So there's definitely an opportunity there for Thompson, but he's got to pretty much win from here, because Davidson's just been super consistent.
Yeah, he certainly has, and as we've said, Thompson, Sedgwick, who can forget Sedgwick having a hardware failure in the very first round of this championship at Portimao. Turn number 1, the car just went straight on as Paul Webster has got a slowdown penalty I can see out there. You've got Nathan Moore making it past Andy Shield. Those two race out of the same awning, out of the World Sim Racing awning, so it wasn't going to be the biggest defensive effort from Shield, but what that did do is it allowed Richard Simner to catch up to the back of Andy. So it's a KRD car versus DCW, all the acronyms.
What is it that the kids say, GG? What does that mean? I've always wondered what on earth that means. Good game, right? Okay, I see.
Oh, I'm down with the kids, mate. Cowabunga.
You are. Are you on the TikTok, Paul?
No, I am not.
No, I'm not on the TikTok either.
Boumet just had a slowdown penalty through the first chicane. So that means that Ross McFarlane goes back ahead. Boumet's still not served that penalty, by the way, so he's serving that slowdown penalty right now. And this is it. You can do it where you just ease off the throttle just a little bit and try and lose as little speed as possible down that straight. But you can see how McFarlane was able to pull out a 7/10 of a second lead. Oh yeah, Peter, yeah, but as we can see and attest by this commentary box right now, we are the most hip and happening chaps of all the sim racing commentary teams.
We've got green screens and everything. We are cool. We are hip. That slaps, bro. That Ferrari is drip, yo.
Oh my goodness! Michael Gray is trying to make the move on on Ben Gregory, and Nick Kirstens is going to follow him there. Oh, contact between Kirstens and Gregory at Mulsanne, and Gregory gives the terse flash of the headlights there. He's not happy about that little bit of a treatment there. And well, we'll take another look at it. Kirsten's taking advantage of Mike Gray's move.
They just got a little bit, they're just unlucky. They just got tangled together a little bit. Just a bit unlucky.
Absolutely. Ryan Walker, the second most common Scottish commentator in race sport. What on earth have I come back to? Yes, indeed.
I mean, if you've just switched it on, you've been thinking, they've gone mad. At last, they've gone mad.
What have they been taking? Just vitamin pills.
You were on the blackcurrant squash. That looked good, actually.
Yes, it's the blackcurrant squash for myself.
Good blackcurrant squash. If you get the right balance, it's so hard to get the right balance, I think. But if you get it right, it's good. What are you? 2 fingers and a pint.
Alex Gall's onto pit road. I just eye it. I don't use any particular measurement. Just eye it up and away we go.
You're watering first.
No. It's got to be your cordial first and then water.
Okay.
Because if you put the water in first, you've then got to mix it. Whereas if you put the cordial in first and then put the water in, it's mixing it for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Alex Gall and Jonathan Walker both onto pit road for their pit stops. That seems a little early for me. I would be wanting to try and go further into the race and stick with a slipstream partner if you've got it.
Mark Kent says water in first. Oh. And we're not talking about making tea, we're talking about something far more serious than that.
Well, for tea, you put the tea bag in first, then the water, and then once you have brewed the tea and let it brew for a good 3-4 minutes, take the tea bag out and then put your milk in.
Precisely so. And no sugar.
I don't even drink tea, and yet I know how to make it.
There you go.
I've been complimented on my tea making.
Well, it's part of your culture.
The Yorkshire upbringing, aye.
Yes, exactly.
You have to work down the tea mines for the first 5 years of your life, and then you've got to be able to make a brew. Absolutely.
Yeah, you just chisel away at the rock, and then there's just these tea bags behind it. It is the best tea, though. Yorkshire tea is the best tea, definitely. Oh, this might be our worst yet. Half an hour to go. Half race.
I'm surprised we haven't had a message from our producer.
Behave.
Anyway, so as we see, Adam Hedgecock dropping down the order then into 28th. He has actually gained a place from where he started there. The only problem is when you've got Michael Avdoka and Bacon Zelenka coming through, you've got to pick and choose your fights. And I think it were a case of Adam thinking, do you know what? I'll sit behind these two, get a little bit of a slipstream, and try and work my way forward. Maybe get some good shots of the cars for my photo portfolio later on. James Boumet's got enough a slowdown penalty, so he's going to be further behind Ross McFarlane. Here's Will Guthrie though. He's trying to get onto the Pro-Am podium here ahead of Chris Chatterton, and Chatterton doing a good job. Once again, he's having a good round this week. He's the sole Prestanda Nomad driver out there. He's doing it tough, but my goodness, today it's all going his way.
It is, yeah. Up in the overall top 10, that's a mighty effort from Chatterton. Really impressive, and he's got William Guthrie right behind him in the Audi. So. What have we got? Now we've got pit stops. Aha. So pit stops then for the two Ferraris, for Thompson and for Victor Wilson. Curiously, Alex Davidson keeps going, whereas his teammate McFarlane comes in, as does Boumet. So has Davidson actually been quite comfortably sitting behind there and saved lots of fuel?
Well, if that's the case, he needs the almighty push lap. It's it's hammer time, to quote the phrase, as tyres are being taken for the Ferraris. Interesting, Ross McFarlane not taking tyres, the others are. So
he is the tyre whisperer.
Yes, he certainly is. There's Wolfson, there's Thompson, away they go.
Oh, it's tight.
Surprise, surprise.
Here comes Wilson.
Oh, now! Oh, he's got a penalty! He's got a penalty as Wolfson for the second week in a row. Victor Wolfson has picked up a pit lane infringement. It's a black flag. He's going to have to serve a drive-through penalty, and you can see what it means to him.
Where do you go with that one?
It's the fact that it's happened too. Yeah, you don't need a lip reading to know what he's thinking of that. But
Merry Christmas, Alex Davison.
Well, that's one of the cars out the way for Alex Davidson now.
I mean, it changes everything for him.
Yeah.
Because if he comes out right there with with Davidson, with Thompson, excuse me, he's there in the fight, and if he can hold a slipstream, you're in with a shout. And remember, the Porsche is very good on braking, so if he's got close enough on slipstream and can outbrake, oh, look at the pain. Oh, Victor Wilson will be sick to the stomach 2 weeks in a row, knowing that he's got to come into the pits, sit and take a very long stop and go penalty, and then back out, and it's just race completely destroyed.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. This is possibly the worst track to get a pit penalty and a black flag for a pit lane infringement, because you've got such a long lap, 13.63 kilometres to think about it. It's just there all the while that you're going around the track. It's heartbreaking.
It's just gutting, absolutely gutting. And Thompson, well, he'll know. I'm sure he'll have a spotter in his ear, or he'll have someone letting him know right now. It's saying, "No, don't worry about Wilson. Don't break your back to defend from him, because he's got to come into the pits and serve a penalty." So for Josh Thompson, this is, well, it is a dream scenario right now, but where is Alex Davidson going to come out? Of course, he's got to pit. Little mistake there, just clipping the curb on the inside of the Porsche curves. That just unsettled the car a little, but held on to it well. Now, we should see Davidson coming into the pits here as he comes through towards the end of the lap. In he comes. How quick can he get this done? Look at that, using the racing line in the pit lane, using every little bit of the road, coming through, and then hard on the brakes. the authentic Le Mans hooter there.
Now, we've just got to be patient and wait. If I'm Victor Wolfson, I'm taking that drive-through now, just to give myself as much time as possible to then gain anything back from that. I just give myself as much time as possible to gain back anything.
Or you stay in the slipstream with someone really fast and then serve it at the end.
Yeah. I mean, we should be 6 laps at the line. Davidson, again, another one, not taking any tyres. Yeah, he's going to stay out as Wolfson.
Yeah, I think if you're allowed to by regulations to stay out and serve it right at the end, I think you do that, and you stay. You buy your ticket first class on the Shinkansen. You board the quickest train. David jumped them massively.
Huge. That is massive.
Oh my word! And it's not even a slipstream.
Yeah.
Oh, so now this gets interesting. You know, is there a little... This is fascinating because Victor Wilson's not necessarily in the battle here. He's more just... I think he'll more just sit behind Thompson and just follow him and keep a really strong pace up. But can Thompson run down Davidson on pure lap time? I think he can. But it's going to be 6 real qualifying laps now from Thompson to try and catch Davidson. But what did we say about the Porsche? It's frugal. Piece of consumer advice: you want energy crisis, cost of living crisis, buy yourself a flat 6 Porsche.
Preferably the GT3 spec one. Porsche will be very happy if you buy one.
GT3 are flat built, yes. If you're, they should have their stuff in what car? You know, if you're in between a Ferrari 296, a Ford Mustang, an Audi R8, you've got to go for the flat 6 Porsche if fuel consumption is a concern to you.
We have had word, by the way, that Victor Wolfson's spotter he actually has got a spotter in the server here today, and Nikolaj Loft telling us that he forgot the pit limiter on the way out of pit lane.
What is it the kids say? Ugh, brother, ugh.
As Michael
with their
Gray,
memes and their TikTok.
Michael Gray is trying to work back up through the field and get a result out of this one. Get this, he's up 22 places, is Michael Gray.
That's amazing.
That he started at the back of the grid.
And he's pitted.
Yeah, and he's pitted.
Wow. That's drive of the day already. If he can get this home anywhere remotely in that position, that is drive of the day.
It's certainly damage limitation, isn't it? To be able to work your way up through the field after a nightmare and a disaster of race number 1. To do that here in the second race. He is under pressure though. Harry Langford is not giving this one up without a fight. And he's pushing him all the way. So it's Michael Gray 16th, Harry Langford 17th, and Mads Kelton in 18th. Kelton again on for another good result in AM, where he started, but crucially he's not lost any places. Yes, he's not gained any, but top AM in this race so far is Mads Kelton once again.
Very strong, yeah, very good. AM is always interesting. It's always wide open, isn't it? How it just can go any which way. Always get lots of different winners in AM, which makes it so exciting. The gap is coming down. Thompson's already down to 1.9 seconds, and the thing is, as soon as he gets to sort of 1.2 seconds, 1 second, he's going to start picking up the slipstream, and then Davidson is in a bit more trouble.
Is this where we find out that the Porsche isn't the best car for this track? Because WSR Esports are proving that to be completely the opposite this week. They've certainly had some really good pace out of that car. So yeah, it's Alex Davidson, Pro Championship leader, who leads this race ahead of Josh Thompson in second place. Victor Wolfson comes onto pit road to serve his drive-through penalty. He'll be making sure that pit button is certainly applied when he comes down pit road, and this is painful. This is absolutely painful as this one, and you can see it. You can see it on his face. And the thing is, that'll be It's the worst kind of mistake, isn't it, Peter? Because you end up beating yourself up because you're the one who's made that penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so tough.
To pitting again. That surprised me that he's pitting again rather than just serving the drive-through. Unless it is a stop and hold.
I think it's a stop and hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop and hold will be 30 seconds, will it be? Which is a savage penalty.
Yeah, so, I mean, a drive-through penalty I think would have been enough. Personally, because it's a slow pit lane here. It's only what is it, 60 kilometers an hour on this track. It's a really slow pit lane speed limit that we've got here in comparison to some of the other tracks that we go to. Oh, this is painful. And away he goes.
Fair play to him though for cracking on. Big respect for cracking on, because we've seen so many times, particularly with front running cars, if something like that happens, it's just like a quit and go. That's fair play, because there's not a great deal left on the table, but there is some points left on the table, and Wilson, at the moment, he's not in the top 5 in the championship, and yet still just cracks on and gets on with it. That's a racer. I like that.
I mentioned this on Saturday in the Porsche Taco RaceSpot Super Cup Contender Series, which you can watch here on RaceSpotTV. I mentioned that there was a number of drivers, one driver in particular, got a drive-through penalty and just pulled into the pits and parked the car. There was that many cars retiring from the race, he could have still got points, which in a championship like that where you're trying to get into the top 15 to qualify for the Porsche Taco RaceSpot Super Cup for next year, every point matters in a series like that, so it's worth you. Yeah, you take your medicine, you crack on and get whatever you can salvage out of it.
That's it. That's what it's all about. Just get it on. Sometimes it's not your day, but yeah, get the car to the finish. Always important. So Alex Davidson, the gap is just sort of settling around 1.7 seconds. Can Davidson hang on? I mean, this, goodness, if Alex Davidson could pull off a win here in the hour-long enduro against the preferred car of the, or supposed preferred car in the Ferrari, I mean, what a job that would be. And indeed his teammate Ross McFarlane on the podium too, to have two Porsches on the podium when they weren't potentially favoured pre-race, or pre-qualifying should we say, because after the qualifying it was like, maybe the pace isn't so bad.
That penalty, by the way, has dropped Victor Wolfson all the way down to 27th with Jesse Payne-Wilkins. Payne-Wilkins is a good 6 seconds ahead. That's going to be tough to even catch up one place, and that's the savage nature of this track, isn't it? Just we've mentioned it in the first race, we've mentioned it in this race. Once you get those gaps, it's so difficult to gain it back.
Yeah, it's just not the circuit to do big heroic comebacks. Cedric, he's got back to 5th, but he's got quite a lot of time up the road, 9 seconds up the road to Bume, so he's going to have to need issues ahead. Have to have issues ahead for him to make any more positions.
Yeah, certainly needs things to happen in front to move forward. Ben Gregory we're looking at there, racing with Richard Simner, Nick Kirstens and Jonathan Walker. 4 drivers all together, and all of them, well, I say all of them, Ben Gregory and Jonathan Walker, the pro-ams of Simner and Kirstens here together on track. And if you sat at home, you've never seen this series before. Oh, that's not the place to go try and make a move there, Ben. Oh my goodness, into the Ford chicane. He backs out of it, but it's a bit ambitious to try and make that move. Oh, big switch then from Nick Kirstens, as they've actually got Michael Avdoka catching up to the back of them as well through all of this. If you're new to the series and you're wondering, well, hang on a second, why are AMs trying to fight for position with Pro-Ams? They're in a different class. Well, in this series, you've not got individual points tables for each of the categories. It is one single points table for whatever position you finish in this race. So that's why you do see people of different classes fighting it out for every position here, isn't it, Peter?
You do, yeah, and that's where, you know, I like the point system where it's where you finish. It's where you finish overall. That is where you score, even if you're running in the Pro-Am or the Am class. So if you have a really heroic day, you can, you know, you can really put some big points on the board in either the Pro-Am or the Am Championship.
We've not mentioned about the two different the other categories as well. Adam Watson leads Pro-Am, but only just ahead of Andy Archer. Chris Chatterton's about 4 seconds back from those two. That's your top three in Pro-Am. Your leading Am is still Mads Keldsen. He is 17th in this race. Ben Gregory is 21st. He's second place in Am, and on the podium, third place in Am, is Jonathan Walker in 24th overall. This is what the race that we're looking at in this action right here, as I go on to the brakes once again and into the second chicane. Backmarker Bob does say what they need right now is for it to start raining. That would be very nice for us watching. I don't think the drivers would appreciate it though, would they, Peter?
No, well, certainly I don't think Alex Davison would anyway, that's for sure. And his lead has gone up to 2.1 seconds, so Josh Thompson is not catching him.
Yeah.
So he was obviously able to sit very comfortably behind Thompson and Wilson and save lots of fuel to gain that extra lap and then push on that lap when they'd gone into the pits. Really, really canny, very clever strategy, and clearly, like we said, and clearly the Porsche has one lap pace because they qualified up the front.
Yeah, it does. And you would have seen, you would have seen teammates helping each other out, trying to slipstream each other, but you expect that around here in qualifying. Oh my goodness, side by side into Indianapolis, Gregory and Simner. Gregory runs wide. Again, a flash of the headlights from Gregory. He's not happy with that, but do you know who is happy about that? It's Michael Avdoka on his recovery drive, trying to run through, and he's got between the two of them there. I think that was a little bit of a side-to-side door panel to door panel touch between the two of them through that right-hander into Indianapolis.
And that can go so wrong. We've seen it so many times coming around Indianapolis. If you run too close, just the slightest contact can kick off the most almighty accident there, because it's just so fast.
It certainly is. Simner saying, sending a postcard to that third apex. Through he goes, and now it's Avdoka all over the back of him. Oh, big wiggle. There was opposite contact between the two of them going in towards the Ford chicane. That Corvette is just not looking good. It seems to be a real handful, Peter, and you think that Corvette, you would think that would go well here, but it's been a struggle all season for whoever's been driving it, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. Nobody's really taken it to the front, and it's you know, that could change. You know, although into a new season now, so perhaps not in this season, but you never know. Next season we could come out and then all the front runners are in Corvettes. It's amazing how quickly it can switch around.
It's amazing how hardly anyone has actually changed over to the McLaren, because that seems to be flavour of the month at the moment. The new McLaren 720 as through Tech Rouge once again down the straight, the Mulsanne straight. Adam Watson's now got a slow down penalty, so he's lost the lead of Pro-Am to Andy Archer. So Archer back ahead of Watson through all of this. Jack Osborne also has picked up a slow down penalty on this lap, as there goes Avdoka to the inside of Simner, and that Porsche genuinely looked quicker in a straight line than that Corvette.
It does, yeah, it does. So It's yeah, looking really, really good at the moment is the Porsche, because it's likewise with under 10 minutes to go. Actually, Alex Davidson has pulled time out of Josh Thompson since they came out the pits. Not much, but has, you know, looked like Thompson was going to catch, and no, doesn't appear so as things stand.
Jack Osborne's got a black flag. He mustn't have served his slow down penalty quick enough, and now he's got a black flag out there. So Jack has decided to tow the car back to pit lane. He's had enough in this race, and he is done for the day. A number of drivers, Simner's picked up a slow down penalty now, along with Kirstens, who's involved in this one. Harry Langford as well has picked out a slow down penalty. I said it was going to be the round of talking about slow down penalties, but it really has been. I've been watching those flags just appear on and off both races, and it has been incredible to see just how many slow down penalties happen here.
It's quite, yeah, it's probably, are there any other tracks where you get more, or is it just that they're just so punished here?
Or is it because there's so many corners around this track where you can gain an advantage? Because you think really in iRacing the only track that's got more corners is the Nordschleife, and let's face it, you're not taking liberties with track limits around the Nordschleife, are you? So
No.
so I would say that it's the most corners where you can pick up slow down penalties, I would say, for a track here.
Yeah, they are brutal here at this circuit. I think it's got to be the worst.
Speaking of, Alex Davidson, slow down penalty. That's going to allow Josh Thompson to close right up to the back of him. There is your race leader. He has served his slow down penalty now, but all of a sudden, Thompson has got a sniff of a win.
Oh, so Davidson had it in the bag, absolutely in the bag, and a slow down penalty. It's all game on now. Now, Josh Thompson, you think, is he the favourite now with that Ferrari? Is he in the absolute pound seat now?
I'll have to see. McFarlane's got James Boumé with him as well, so those two are getting pretty close out there. So, yeah, there's Thompson right in the slipstream. We've got about 3 laps or so left, I would say, at the start when they crossed the line. So there's still time. That's the thing. It's a long old lap around here. They've still got time to be able to make moves and to gain and lose places. It's also time that potentially Josh Thompson gets himself a slow down penalty himself.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It can come back as just as quick, can't it? So, well.
As Jim Ross used to say, business has picked up, and my goodness, has it picked up here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Pleasure to have you all along with us. Thompson, he's showing a nose there. He's trying to get into the head of Alex Davidson, and we've seen just how frustrated drivers can be when they make a mistake like that. It's important for Davidson to just keep his head, isn't it?
It is, yeah. He's just got to keep it clean. I mean, you know, yes, I'm sure he wants to win, but he came into this round with a 107-point advantage over Thompson. So it's Josh Thompson who's the one he has to win. Nothing else for it.
Yeah, certainly to go through Indianapolis once again into Arnage. Clock is ticking down, 5.5 minutes remaining, so we should have 2 laps at the line for your race leaders. And if they've been keeping a strong pace up at the front, the question is, have they got enough fuel? I would imagine that they've put enough fuel in, with them having, 23 second pit stops. But if you go that extra lap, then what you expect around here, it is a long lap, and you could end up losing it here. So keep an eye on all of this. Adam Watson has gone back ahead of Andy Archer in your Pro-Am battle, so they have switched position once again. I don't think that's the last we're going to hear of those two switching positions either, and so you could see those two changing positions. Paul Webster has got himself ahead of Mike Barber. Barber's up 3 places. Michael Gray, by the way, is right with these two. 23 places gained now for Michael Gray.
That is got to be. If it's not, I mean, it's got to be drive of the day. I think that's got to be one of the drives of the season.
It's incredible. You can't knock that at all. It is an absolutely incredible recovery drive at a track that is notorious for being difficult to do recovery drives at.
Yeah, I think, yeah, particularly when you take the circuit into context, I think that's amazing. And of course, for Michael Gray being a Pro-Am driver, I don't think you'd even expect it from one of the pro drivers. So for a Pro-Am driver to pull that off, quite remarkable. I tell you what, we are going that extra lap, Paul. I think fuel-wise, there might be a little bit of nerves creeping in here for both these drivers. I think you're absolutely right there.
There'll be 1 or 2 drivers looking at their dashboard and thinking, doing the old trick, isn't it, where you tap the fuel gauge. You magic more fuel, and if you just tap it, don't you? That's what you see in the films. We'll get it to the end. We'll make it to the next services.
It's like the Fast and the Furious 25-speed gearboxes as well.
Well, you've got to keep it in the torque range, haven't you, Peter?
Oh yeah. Especially if it's a Mazda RX-7, yeah. Keeping it in the power band. Letting the VTEC kick in, yo.
As Thompson, I think Thompson is biding his time here. I think last lap of the race down to Indianapolis is when he makes his move.
Yeah, I don't think you want to show your hand too early. I think so. I think if they're short on fuel, perfect for Josh Thompson to have someone in front of him to have a slipstream from. Absolutely ideal.
As we go through to Mulsanne corner once again, onto the brakes, through the right-hander, carry the speed out of the corner, up through the gearboxes once again. Naturally aspirated Porsche versus turbocharged Ferrari, and those turbocharged Ferraris have looked strong, but that Porsche, you mentioned it, Peter, was on the front row of the grid. It has 1 lap pace there, and it's shown some really good race pace as well. Here's goes Thompson though. He's going for it, and I think, is that Davidson backing out of it? No, he's not. He's fighting this one all the way into Indianapolis once again, giving each other space. That's respectful racing room given, and Davidson slots in behind Thompson to the head of the pack.
So he has gone. So Josh Thompson goes to the front then in the Ferrari past Alex Davidson. Wowee. So does this give Davidson a chance to snap straight back on the next lap and pinch it before the line? Oh, very interesting indeed.
Well, as you pointed out, Peter, though, he doesn't have to, does he? He can just get himself a really good point score here, can Davidson, with a 2nd place.
Yeah, he can, and yeah, he doesn't need to worry about it too much. He'll more than extend his championship advantage, because it was Cedric sitting in 2nd. Cedric hasn't had the best day, so it will be. I think you could theoretically see the championship advantage go to around 100 points, so more of an advantage than he had coming in. There's 79 over Cedric coming into this round.
It's the start of the last lap then. White flag in the air, and the drivers go one more time through here, and now it's all about, can Thompson stay ahead of Davidson here on this last lap? Davidson could quite easily pull a Josh Thompson on him and be able to make it past as well. James Boumé, another slowdown penalty for him in his race against Ross McFarlane. That race for 3rd place. still going to be going all the way to the end here. Tremendous effort from these two, though. It was great, respectful racing between the two as well.
Yeah, it has been very, very good. I think that's been clear to see. Just yeah, how respectful they've been, definitely. But does Davidson, does he want to risk this? Can he risk this? Can he afford to? These are all the things that are going through our heads. Is it going through his head? Well, here he goes. Is he going to have a go for it at the Daytona chicane? I think he might well do. He's showing a nose big time. Thompson leaves space there, but no, doesn't quite get it done.
But that compromises Thompson's run through the first chicane, the Daytona chicane, and that gives Davidson then the run through the slipstream, down the second part of the Mulsanne straight, down towards the second chicane, and Davidson is showing he means business. He does not want to give up this race win. They're racing by the lights here, and through goes Davidson. Oh, for me, is that a little bit too early? You've given Thompson the opportunity to get the slipstream back down towards Mulsanne and then all the way down to Indianapolis.
Well, let's see. Davidson's holding on to it for now. It's Thompson's all over him. He's jinking around, and now Davidson goes defensive. How through they go. Then into Mulsanne. Davidson having to go very defensive. Thompson, he's just going into a hiding to nothing. They're trying to put Davidson under pressure possibly, but this is really exciting stuff. It's all just crescendoed immediately in this last couple of laps.
Davidson's got to be careful not to make two moves with Thompson all around him. Oh, the rub doors going down towards Indianapolis. That's a little bit naughty between the two of them. Oh, there's no love lost between the two of them. Thompson's back a nose ahead. Davidson's there though, absolutely neck and neck as they go into Indianapolis. Thompson again leaving space to Davidson, but it's now Davidson who's got the inside into Arnage. And still side by side, Thompson can get the power down a little bit earlier around the outside, and they're still neck and neck. They're touching doors again. Again, I'll say it again. They're playing chicken at 170 miles an hour. This will end in tears between these two if they're not careful. Oh, there's more banging. This is not needed at all. And quite frankly, we went from respectful racing between the two of them to just absolute carnage between the two of them. You don't need to be hitting each other on a straight. Well, through the Porsche curves, Davidson holds on to it for the time being. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle for Davidson round the outside for Thompson, and Davidson's around. He's around. Oh my goodness! Can McFarlane come through? Well, he's certainly there, and Boumet's there. We said that Davidson didn't need to do it. He needed to get some good points, but Josh Thompson, another race win here at Le Mans. A race win, 2 from 2 for the Team Redline driver.
How important could that moment be in the final outcome of this championship? Yes, there's a big gap still between Thompson and Davidson, but that is, well, that is something where Thompson's going to go to bed tonight going, right, we've got these 3 rounds to go. I've had a couple of wins on the bounce. I'm the man with the momentum. For Davidson, he's going to go to bed tonight thinking, what did I get into that fight for?
Consolidate a championship. Adam Watson, through the final corner, he's going to take the Pro-Am win. He's not caring about the overall win. He's got Pro-Am win in the end there. And Chris Chatterton, I think, got it at the line for second place in Pro-Am ahead of Andy Archer. Mads Kelton, what a day it has been for the Bayel Simsport driver. Mads has been absolutely superb in the AM Championship here today, and he's going to come across the line an AM race winner, 2 from 2 for Mads, 16th place overall.
Superb stuff. Well, that really did crescendo at the end there, didn't it? Goodness me.
We're going to be talking about this round, I think, for the rest of the season, I feel, Peter, because Thompson, he is on a bit of a charge this second half of the season, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I think this this really could come back. This could come back to haunt Davidson. I really think it might be.
Well, we've got a few more drivers still out there on track. It's got the YouTube chat talking as well. That is for sure. They've all been giving their thoughts. Thank you so much. As through we go across the line for the rest. We'll be able to run through your results soon. Michael Gray did drop down positions towards the end of the race. I wonder if he was having to maybe fuel save a little bit, but he finished 19th overall. Gain of 19 places for Michael Gray, so that's still a really good result here at this race. I will say as well, Nick Kirsten's another driver, 19 places gained.
To gain that amount is absolutely immense on a circuit like this, and it hasn't been a hugely high rate of attrition either.
No, absolutely not. Last couple of cars we're going to be across the line. There goes Mike Horder. What we will be able to do is, because we're going to be waiting a little while if we wait for the final car to come across the line, it is Josh Thompson then for Team Redline. 2 from 2 here tonight. He'll be delighted to see that result here today. Ahead of Ross McFarlane, who quite frankly will be surprised to be finishing in second place, as will James Boumé, finishing third place here today. Alex Davidson, side by side, contact between him and Thompson at the end means that he goes down to fourth place. Jack Sedgwick in fifth, a good recovery drive from him, up 5 places ahead of Alex Gall in sixth. Your top pro-am, Adam Watson, then is in 7th place. Then behind him is Chris Chatterton, who's had a really good round for him in 8th place. 9th place and 3rd place in pro-am for Andy Archer, ahead of Nathan Moore, rounding out the top 10. Then in 11th place, it will be Will Guthrie ahead of Andy Shield. Paul Webster and Mike Barber are 13th and 14th, ahead of Harry Langford in 15th. Mads Kelton, what a drive, what a week it's been for him. 16th after an 18th place in the first race of the evening. That's a 2 from 2 AM win for the BL SimSport driver. Josh Boot ahead of Michael Evdoka with Michael Gray, and Victor Wolfson, a bit of a recovery from him to finish in 20th in the end after his penalty. Nick Kirsten's ahead of Phil Samways. 2nd place in AM is Ben Gregory in 23rd, ahead of Simon Andre Livingston in 3rd place in AM, 24th overall. Jesse Payne Wilkins ahead of Bobby Zelenka, Bacon Zelenka should I say, and then Ben Bennyworth, Adam Hedgecock, Jonathan Walker and Mike Horder. In 31st, it's Nathan Healy, who was the last driver on the lead lap. Dennis Grabowski 1 lap down in the end in 32nd. 2 laps down, Jack Osborne and Richard Simner. 3 laps down for him. The drivers who did not finish: Ben Hackerson, Andrew Fairley, Anders Meyer, Joe Newman, Ben Altria and Ian Brown. Well, we have got an interview, and it's not the Josh Thompson debrief this week. It's the top AM driver, and it's a worthy interview as well. Peter, take it away with Matt Kelson.
Matt, welcome to the RaceSpotTV commentary booth. Congratulations on a superb race meeting here at Le Mans. Tell us the story of your night.
It's been a lovely night. I've always had good pace on Le Mans, and we used that to our advantage today. So yeah, it's just lovely to finally be at the front in the aim. So yeah, good race.
What were the main areas where you think you were getting an edge over your rivals? Where were you getting the advantage from, do you think?
The advantage, I don't know, but in the races I just I kept it calm, and I wasn't biting any of the pro-ams, just letting them by, and if they were faster than me, I could use it to fuel save a bit in the longer race here in the end. But yeah, just using the pro-ams to my advantage, and don't take any stupid battle I know I wasn't gonna win.
In the longer race with the pit stop, how much were you having to fuel save in either stint?
I honestly, I didn't have to fuel anything. I could just push if I want to, but yeah, I was just in the middle of pro-ams and in the race, so just fuel save just because it was the best opportunity in the race. But in the second stint, I underfueled a bit, so I have to fuel save a few liters, but nothing too serious.
Well, it certainly looked a really strong effort. Mads, congratulations on a great night at the office, as we say, and good luck for the last part of the season.
Thank you.
Always great to hear from some of our drivers. Normally it's Josh Thompson, but for his weekly debrief, but instead it's Mads Kelter. And it's good to hear from somebody who's had such a good week when it's been a tough season for Mads. I mean, he's 11th in AM coming into this week, so that's been a boon for him.
It has, yeah, and like he said, he summed it up very well there, saying didn't get in any silly battles with cars not in his class. Just let them go, tuck in behind them, take as much as you can from them, and but keep it clean, and that's how you win AM championships, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, it certainly is. Well, we're not going to be racing next week. It's a week off for the championship, so enjoy the week off, because the following week, on Monday the 14th of October, it is going to be the final special event, format as tonight, from the circuit, the Barcelona Catalunya. 2 races around the historic layout as well, so we're using the proper old school layout, as I like to say, and it will certainly give us a really good meeting there. So make sure you join us here on RaceSpotTV in 2 weeks' time as we start the run-in to the finale of the championship. But I'm afraid that is all that we've got time for here tonight. Thank you, as always, to Peter Mackay. It's myself, Paul Smith. Hugo Luis has been behind the scenes on production. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for that race at Barcelona. Good night.